You know what's missing from most conversations about compounding? The number. Not theory, not slogans, the actual dollar amount you need today for compounding to carry you to retirement without adding another cent. People hear compound interest is magical. Einstein, Buffett, every finance creator repeats it. What nobody gives you is the minimum starting amount in real dollars for real people in 2026. Not vague advice, not perfect market stories, real math. The truth sits between two bad extremes. One side sells fantasy. Everything works. Markets never crash. The other side sells despair. You were too late. You will never catch up. Both are wrong. Compounding does not require a massive income. It does not require extreme sacrifice. It requires one thing you cannot buy: time. You can earn more money later. You never get more years. I'm Ron. On Investabro, I break down personal finance using data, not hype. Real numbers, real trade-offs. This matters because I watched people panic in 2022. The S&P 500 dropped over 18%. People with decades left sold everything. They thought they were protecting themselves. They locked in losses and bought back higher later. They had time. They wasted it. Knowing your number keeps you calm when markets turn ugly, and markets always turn ugly. Here's another reality check. Federal Reserve data shows the average American has under $10,000 saved for retirement. That includes people in their 40s and 50s. At the same time, the industry shouts numbers like $2 million or save 15% for 40 years. No context, no math, no starting point. Let's fix that. Start with the end goal, a normal retirement, bills paid, some travel, no constant stress. Most people overestimate spending. Work costs disappear. Commuting, payroll taxes, often a mortgage. Kids become independent. Real retiree spending averages about $60,000 per year. That covers housing, healthcare, food, transport, and leisure. To fund that from investments, planners use withdrawal rates. The most tested is the 4% rule. Withdraw 4% annually, adjusted for inflation. High odds the money lasts decades, even through crashes. At $60,000 per year, divide by 0.04. You get $1.5 million. That number scares people. They shut down. They stop listening. Here's the key detail most advice skips. That $1.5 million assumes zero Social Security. Most people ignore Social Security because they fear collapse. Total collapse would destroy the economy. That scenario breaks every plan anyway. Benefits might change, they might shrink. Full disappearance is unlikely. In 2026, the average married couple benefit sits around $48,000 per year. That covers most basic spending. Now, your investments only need to produce $12,000 per year. At 4%, the required portfolio drops to $300,000. Same retirement, very different math. Now we answered the real question. What do you need today for compounding alone to do the work? Assume a 7% real return. That matches long-term market history after inflation. One lump sum, no future contributions, pure compounding. First, no Social Security, full self-funding. At age 25, with 40 years left, you need about $100,000 today to reach $1.5 million. At age 35, with 30 years, about $200,000. At age 45, with 20 years, about $390,000. That is the penalty of delay. Now include Social Security. Target drops to $300,000. At age 25, you need about $20,000 today. At age 35, about $40,000. At age 45, about $78,000. Those numbers shock people. They feel small next to headlines screaming millions. This shows why timing beats size. Here's the comparison that makes it obvious. Investor A puts in $100,000 at age 25, never adds more. Investor B puts in $300,000 at age 40. Investor A reaches about $1.5 million by retirement. Investor B reaches about $1.6 million. Triple the money, same outcome. That is not magic, that is math. Compounding rewards early starters, not heavy savers. Cash does not do this. High-yield savings pay around 4 to 5%. Inflation eats most of it. Real growth stays near zero. Markets grow wealth over decades. Volatility hurts short-term feelings. Time fixes that. Now let's get practical by age. In your 20s, time works hardest for you. $20,000 to $30,000 invested early snowballs into a strong base. The mistake is delay. Waiting feels harmless. It is expensive. In your 30s, the window narrows. $40,000 to $50,000 becomes the baseline. Lifestyle inflation kills progress. Cars and rent upgrades quietly steal years. In your 40s, starting late, you need more up front, around $80,000 to $100,000. Earnings often peak here. Discipline matters more than optimism. Starting at 40 beats starting at 50 every time. So what is the lowest amount before compounding matters? There is no single number. With Social Security and early timing, around $20,000. Without it, closer to $100,000. Starting later raises the bar fast. January 2026 context matters. Rates are high. Inflation cooled but still present. Markets feel uncertain. Fear blocks action. Timing the market fails. Waiting costs time. Time never returns. People who build wealth are not smarter. They started earlier and stayed consistent. If you're in your 20s or early 30s with little saved, build the first $20,000 to $30,000 fast. Use tax-advantaged accounts. Take employer matches. Cut expenses short-term. If you're late 30s or early 40s and behind, push harder. Aim for $40,000 to $80,000. Delay upgrades. This window matters. If you're in your late 40s or 50s and starting, adjust the plan. Save aggressively. Work longer if needed. Lower spending expectations. These are math decisions, not failures. Starting early buys freedom, career flexibility, less fear, more choice. Waiting costs options. Stress replaces flexibility. Compounding only rewards action, not plans, not intentions. The real power of compounding is not the money it creates, it's the time it gives back.